All right, over to you, Ranty. Everyone else, if you can pop yourselves on mute.
Okay, no worries.
Hey, just before you do, hey Arwin, how you doing?
Hello.
Good to have you. Right, you're on, Ranty, in your own time.
Yeah. I mean, the assertion by the Globe that boats go over the curve, and I thought I'd just have a look, and I typed it into YouTube just to see, what would be the first few results. Of course, top of the list is Red's Rhetoric with a video that this boat here, he's filming this boat, and he says it goes over the curvature of the Earth. Well, I saw his edited video, and then he gave a link to the unedited video. So this is a couple of still shots that I've taken from the unedited video. So this is the boat as we would normally see it. If you zoom in, you've got you imagine the guy's probably sat down in this part here, and there's the canopy sort of thing. There's the door, some windows, the sail, obviously. Here's an image later on, so at 3:50:05 on his timing. This is the same boat. Do you notice anything different, firstly, about the two images?
They're about the same, other than you've got this giant, what looks like a door and windows on the one.
Yeah.
It also looks like the sail is about the same size, but the bottom seems to be a different size.
Or a different shape, more to the point, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm going to elaborate on that with this next image. So what I've done here is I've taken out the image that we get with all the detail in it, and I've scaled it to size so that if you look at the actual sails, the sails are the same height. There's no difference at all. Even the canopy essentially is the same height. But look at this inferior mirage that's happening at the bottom. Can you see how the inferior mirage, firstly, on this canopy, this door, is lower, because there it is on this part here, but it is substantially lower, like it's being dragged down. The image is being dragged downwards, and then we get in the inferior mirage.
Sorry to interrupt you, Ranty. Hey, Pumpkin Puff, can you hear us?
Yes.
Good to have you.
Hey guys.
Hello, good to have you.
So if I open it in, to give you a better indication of that, I'll open it in Paint so that I can show you the lines that I'm going to put in now. So we'll do it in red. So here we've got line of sight to the top of the sails, yeah, to the bottom of the sail, pretty much scaled to size. You wouldn't say there's any issues with that. The only problem comes is when you're trying to spot this door on this image. So you're trying to spot the door here, you would expect the door to be in this location here, but it's not. It's actually substantially lower. You're talking it's that much lower to the top of the door, whereas here it's here. So what it's showing is, and then obviously you've got the inferior mirage that runs through this particular image. So I'm going to say that all of that boat is there. It's just being pulled down at the surface layer and turned into an inferior mirage. That's what I see. I hope everyone else can see that. And when he claims that this is the proof of the boat going over the curvature of the Earth, it's absolutely nothing of the sort whatsoever. That image isn't representative of this image. You wouldn't be able to say what this boat looks like from this image. If you took this out here and I asked you to say, what's this boat going to look like? You wouldn't be able to say it looks like this because there's no data in this to get that image. But with the sails, you could clearly say that the sails, you would be able to identify the sails, not a problem. But as for the boat, there's no way that you'd be able to say that this boat is this boat because it looks nothing like it. It's just been, essentially all the data has been lost. It's been jumbled up. It's now going to an inferior mirage. It's not in the correct place. It's actually lower than it should be. And there's where your boats go over the curvature of the Earth. It's all optical. Absolutely.
I just add one thing to that. So, if you can just draw one line on the apparent horizon, please.
Yeah.
That's what they're claiming is the Earth curve. That's what's claimed to be obstructing this boat, if you presuppose you're on a sphere. Now, if that's the thing that's obstructing it, That's not what's happening. We're not losing the bottom of the boat to an earth curve obstruction. It's being miraged down upon itself, and the rest of the scale of the boat remains the same. Therefore, number one, it's not going over anything. Number two, it is being obscured by what? The leading edge of a sphere? No, that's not happening. Literally, that is not what's obscuring it. Is this accounted for in the earth curve calculator? No. The only assertion is earth curve. The only thing they do with light is bend it back flat a bit more so you account for super zoom cameras. But is this the leading edge of a sphere causing an obstruction? Absolutely not. Good demonstration.
And also, yeah, thank you, Nath. And just one last thing, I just want to be clear with this, that the inferior mirage drops the level of this doorway here substantially down. It literally, you can see the difference if I try and make that a little bit thinner. This is the line here from the top of that door. It has been dropped substantially compared to the masts. The masts are all stayed the same, but then the door on the inferior mirage has been dropped drastically down. So anytime that we're trying to sort of like compare like for like with inferior mirages, we can refer back to this and say, well, this is the effect that the inferior mirage does. It literally distorts the image and pulls the data downwards. So in effect, if you were to do a blink test on these doors, you could even claim that the bottom of the hull should be here by using that particular logic. But if you use reason and understand that all of the boat is here, it's just hidden behind the inferior mirage. And this is the effect that the inferior mirage is doing. It's literally pulling down the visible part of the door here.
Let's not call it reason. Let's call it evidence.
Just before you move on, so I'm going to bring up the image of Barrow in Finesse just to give you an idea of exactly the same thing that's occurring. So if you can see on my screen now, this is another Ranty image. And you've got fish opening its mouth and closing its mouth as the air varies and causes the mirage to raise and lower. So you've got a complete fold line through this fish's mouth on the whole image. Now, has the height of this building changed? No. Is this obscuring something? No. We've got a mirage. Everything above it is in exactly the same place you would expect it to be. But you've got a doubling of whatever it is. This ends here. And then you've got doubling down to what they claim is obscuring stuff. There's no obstruction going on. None. Excellent demonstration, Ranty. Hope you clip this one out as well.
Yeah, I will do. I'll get it put on my account later.
Well, in that case, just before anybody butts in, so have you got your GoFundMe? Stick it in the chat, and then you've got it plugged together.
Yeah, I'll stick it in the chat.
So Ranty's got currently got a GoFundMe for a Mavic Pro drone. So he's hoping to do some observations over at Loch Ness. He's last year he did a GoFundMe for a P1000 that was extremely successful and has yielded some great results, along with other people's P1000 footage. Drones are the thing of the moment. Ranty's our man in terms of going out and actually doing this stuff, along with Anthony and various other people who go out there. We haven't seen Travis for a while, have we? But nevertheless, before I sidetrack, go and check out Ranty's GoFundMe campaign. Chuck him a quid or something if you can't afford very much money. I haven't contributed yet. I will if we do a Ranty-a-thon ever. Hey, life is short.
Right.
Hey guys. Hey.
Hey,
Nathan.
Are we on the light? Which one are we on? Nathan Oakley or Nathan Oakley 1980?
Yeah, we're broadcasting live to the hardcore Nathan Oakley fans. So
right, okay. So I can actually just stick the link in there now. Then that's cool.
You can directly, market your campaign to however many people are watching currently. I don't know exactly how many people.
Yeah, and I'll tell you for why I want to do this stuff. You see that boat that's just passed literally it's just passed on screen. If I was able to know where all these boats are these small boats. For instance, I'm always seeing little pleasure boats that go out, but you can never track them by GPS. However, if I have a drone that I can fly out there and know how far away that boat is, because I can literally hover above them and say, yeah, okay, I've got a GPS for this location now, and then I can film the boat with the P1000, I'll be able to prove conclusively that the horizon isn't where they say it is, ever, because it's flat. It is flat. Water Lake's flat where I film. I can prove that, and a drone will drastically help that.
So if you're watching this on, just one more thing, I will get you, like I promise, 10th man, I haven't forgotten you. If you're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980, then check out the link that hopefully Ranty will publish as we're doing this, but go to his GoFundMe, check out his Maverick Pro footage, and if you're watching this on Ranty Flat Earth channel, subscribe to Nathan Oakley and Nathan Oakley 1980 immediately. Anyway, 10th man, over to you.
Yes. Again, excellent presentation, Randy. But for terminology purposes, since I'm familiar with boats, that would be a window, not a door. The hatch or the door, that, as we say here as landlubbers, would be behind the bow. So that dark image is a window letting light into the cabin area. Just for terminology.
Okay, I'll take responsibility for that. When I saw the image, I said to Ranty, "You mean the door?" And then that's just what we referred to it. That was me that called it a door. So don't blame Ranty for that. That's me. Sorry, Ranty.
Yeah, I just wanted to conclude, actually. Now that you've just mentioned the windows, it's just jogged my memory. Is that on this image, you can clearly see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas, darker areas around this, which is the 5 windows on this side. Are these windows all windows? Hello?
Yeah. Yes, those would be portholes, windows, and then the big one that looks darker than the rest is a big one that allows more light into the cabin. And under the canopy, right behind the second sail, would be the way in and the way out.
Right. So would you agree then that it appears that the windows here, there's a window there, there's a window there, 3, 4, and then the big one in the middle. So we'll just do a line across that. Would you agree that those 5 areas are these 5 areas here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's no doubt. It's obvious.
So can you see how much higher they are? Sorry, lower they are on the inferior Mirage one, and yet it's scaled correctly with the actual. Well,
we actually see compression and a Mirage at the same time.
Yes, I'm glad you said that, because this is what I said to Nathan today. I said, this is what I've been looking for. I've asserted that the compression happens behind the inferior Mirage, right? And I've been told by the Globers that's ridiculous, you can't prove it. Specifically Rumpus, who has said it cannot be proved. You cannot prove that in compression happens behind the inferior Mirage. Well, I said, well, it would make perfect sense if it did. It's just that we can't see it. On days that when we get clear days and we can see the compression, or the days we get the inferior Mirage, can I prove that it happens behind it? No. Well, I think that these 2 images here demonstrate that effect. It's on the cusp of being an inferior, well, it is an inferior Mirage, but it literally is between the 2. You can see the compression happening because it's being dragged down, and you can see the inferior Mirage. It has both in the one shot. It's just fantastic.
Well, you could see in the picture that is not compressed, that the port side, which is what we're seeing on the sailboat, the port side, which is the left side, on the hull itself, I can't make out any portholes. But above the hull, where the deck is, I could see those windows plus that big black one. Then on the second image, where the compression and the Mirage is, all those windows, all those portholes move to where the porthole is. So it's obviously being compressed.
Ah, wicked. I'll shut up now, Ranty.
You love this image because it's like it has 2 inferior Mirages on 2 separate boats. So we have boat 1 in the foreground, and these 2 parts here are of the same boat, a bigger boat in the distance. But the inferior Mirage is much higher up on this one and much lower down on this one, proving that it's an angle rather than the curvature of the Earth. Because let me open this with paint.net. Yeah. Oh. And let's get a line in here.
Optical flat.
You like this, don't you, Tony?
That was Alan.
So there we've got the line for the inferior. Let me do it in something a bit brighter than that so you can all see it. I hate this.
That's good enough. You can see it. Oh, there we go.
There we go. That's better. So we've got inferior Mirage on the boat in the background. Maybe a tad higher, maybe just lower it a tad. And then we've got an inferior Mirage on this boat in the foreground. Now, if it was an inferior, if this was the curvature of the Earth, this area here, if this area was the curvature of the Earth, i.e. the leading edge is the inferior Mirage on this boat in the foreground, then you wouldn't have had the inferior Mirage on the background one higher up. You would have had the inferior Mirage on the back one at this height here, which would have meant you'd have seen more of the boat in the background. You'd have seen more of it, for a start, and the inferior mirage would have started in this location. But because it doesn't do that, and you've got two clear lines of two separate inferior mirages, this has to be, from your perspective here, point A, as you're looking at the first boat. So let's go to boat 1. I'm just going to draw a crappy little angle for you. So that you guys can conceptualize.
Nathan, you got a super chat.
Oh, shout out. I didn't see who it is.
So
I'll
Proficient
wait. I'll
pirate.
wait. Thank you, Ranty. Arwin, I will look back. I don't want to interrupt Ranty's presentation, though.
This
Thank
is
you
why
for
it's
the
an
super-
angle. Point. This is the first boat. This is the first boat here, this white one. It's nearer, and the inferior mirage starts at this height, just due to pure perspective. And you can tell it's an angle rather than the curvature of the Earth, because on the next one, it's higher up, where it appears higher. Now, if that had been the curvature of the Earth, you'd have had just one straight line, like so.
Hey, Randy,
Yep.
you're showing that it's going up, not down, like on the ball that would fall away from you. It's the opposite of what they're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's upwards.
Exactly.
That's another Life is Short point. You know, another big shout out to Life is Short. But yeah, it's doing the complete opposite. It's upward refraction, if you want to call it that.
And then here's a series of images that I took from, it was called Boats Disappear, No Curve, Optical, Flat Earth. Now, this is the one that I get a lot of stick for from the globe earthers, because they say that this is proof that the boats go over the curvature of the Earth. And I say, no, it's proof that the boat goes into the inferior mirage layer and disappears. And they won't have it. Well, what I've done is I've taken some still shots of this boat as it's heading away from me, getting further away, going further away. What can you see happening? You can, here we go. Beautiful fold line starting here. The boat's getting smaller due to perspective because it's going further away. Absolute clear inferior mirage here. You can see the white part of the boat mirage back down on it. And I'll just scroll through a few more images. This one particular is very evident. Now, the boat doesn't look like a boat. You can't tell it was the same boat. It doesn't even look like a boat, let's be honest. But the inferior mirage is creeping up. Well, it appears that the inferior mirage is creeping up the height of the boat, but it's not. It's just because the boat's going away, it's getting smaller. So due to perspective, it's actually getting nearer to the horizon. Like so, just due to perspective, because it's getting smaller as it further away it goes. And this angle is causing the inferior mirage to creep up.
Hold on. For some reason, the screen sharing has stopped working. So I'm going to reload this Hangout. Hopefully it doesn't cock everything up in the meantime.
Okay, so some screenshots of this boat. I don't know how much you saw, so I'll go back to the first one. I'll just get rid of that so you can't see it. So there's the boat. What's happening is the boat's going further away, so its angular size is changing. It's getting smaller and smaller as it goes off into the distance. What we see in a moment is clear evidence of an inferior mirage starting at the bottom here. You can see the white part reflected down, and you can see this fold line starting in the middle here. It's a little more evident in this particular image. You can see it a lot clearer how white it is at the bottom. The inferior mirage line is here where my cursor is. Now the boat is pretty much undistinguishable. You can't tell, you know, that it would even be a boat. It doesn't look much of anything. It's just being smudged and blurred out. Certainly isn't what you'd expect to see of the image that they portray when a boat goes over the curve. Nice, clear, crisp images. It's not what we see. So this boat is getting smaller. So due to the fact that its angular size is getting both width and height should be getting smaller. This boat is, as it gets further away, getting nearer to the horizon. It's getting smaller and nearer to the horizon because it's going further away. And what's happening is it goes further away. It's slowly going down. It's getting nearer to this inferior mirage line here, this angle. You'll see it in this particular image. Can you see now it's almost got rid of all the blue on the boat? And we're just basically mirroring white up and down. And eventually, here we've got another image. Eventually this boat will just merge into the inferior mirage. And this is the last image that I just showed you, which was this one, where you can basically not really see anything of the boat. But when you highlight it, you can see the top part of the mast here, the bit of the boat here, and you can see a clear inferior mirage line there. So all this here, all this area underneath the red line is atmosphere. And the boat itself is still all visible, or should be all visible, if it wasn't for this atmosphere here underneath it, causing the inferior mirage. No boat went over the curve, Nathan.
An excellent presentation, Ranty.
So yeah, I was out this morning. Am I still presenting, Nate?
You are. It's very noisy here, so I'm going to be on mute for a bit.
Okay, so yeah, I went down to the beach today and I wanted to follow this boat. I think I titled the stream going to try and view a boat going over the curvature or something like that. Of course we never did, and I made a prediction at the start of the live stream that all we would see is the boat basically go into an inferior mirage and disappearing behind the inferior mirage. So this is some of the footage that I took. I'll skip along to the next one, and here we have the same boat. Now then, do you notice anything about that boat compared to the boat we were just looking at? I'll make it easier for you guys.
No, I can see it. I just don't want to disturb it with racket. It looks like it should be letting in water through those windows, eh, Ranty?
Yeah, have you seen the length of these windows down here compared to the real length of the windows? But what's obviously happening is we're getting an inferior mirage right about here. And funnily enough, that inferior mirage is stretching the windows down, just as it is with the other stuff that we've come up with. And it's hiding this blue area. All the blue is hidden by the reflected white that's being miraged down upon it. And it blocks it out. It blocks everything from the underneath out. You can't see through the inferior mirage. It just creates a mirror image. And that's all we get to see throughout the entire footage. I'll put this video together because I did do it as a live stream and it was only through the viewfinder, so you couldn't really see it very well. But the prediction at the start, which was that the boat would just go into an inferior mirage and disappear into the distance and end up fading into the inferior mirage line, is exactly what happened. No boats went over the curve, Nathan.
Okay, the Earth is obviously unobservably flat. Another excellent demonstration. It's been a great day. I'm glad these go out on a delay on the main channel. Yeah, cracking demonstration.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, whilst we're there, I just wanted to just show something. I was focusing on this boat. Where are we? Was it? Let's go back to it. Let me just find the clip. I think it's this one here. Yeah. So I'm focusing on this boat out here, and obviously I'm seeing this boat. It's a small boat. It's a fishing boat. I think these are typically around about 16 or 17 foot in height, because it's similar to the one that was hired in Wales. Anyway, it parks up in a minute and it just goes to the side. But what I want to focus on is the height of these waves as they splash up along the front. Now this is down to the chop, the swell, and the waves that are out there. Yeah. Now to me that looks pretty rough. You know, if you were on that boat, you're going to be thrown around quite a bit. And yet, when I zoom back out again, when I zoom back out, you'll see that this is the waves that we get at the shoreline. Very, very just little trickles up to your feet, and they'll stop here. There's no energy left on them. But when we zoom back into the boat, you'll see that it is being chucked around quite a lot out there. So this is all following on with the talk of the swell and the waves and how they cause obstruction. And secondly, I tried to find. I've got the name of the boat. It's called the Blue Mink. So I was able to zoom in it, and I was thinking, oh, I wonder if I can get the data for that. There it is. It's called the Blue Mink. Because I was thinking it was about 4 miles away, 4 or 5 miles away, but I couldn't prove it. So when I went looking for it, which is up here, Ship AIS, I typed it in for the Blue Mink, and basically it just said Blue Mink. It just said you couldn't find it, so that boat isn't registered. I wasn't able to get anything.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Is that Arwin? Hey, Arwin.
Yeah.
Bless
Okay.
you.
Hey,
It's
Warren.
the real me.
Hey,
There is
Warren.
a point. There is a point to this. So if I can't find this boat on the tracker and I can't get its GPS location, I have no way of validating how far away this boat is. Now there's nothing hidden on that boat, and I know my tape measure. I just measured it. I showed you in a minute. I'll put the tape measure down. There we go. I'm putting the tape measure down. So I can't prove where the horizon is or if these guys are beyond the horizon because I don't know. But if I had a drone, I could fly above them and I would know it's GPS.
Shout out to Julio Pabon. Hope I haven't butchered your name. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really do appreciate it.
So, yeah, there we go. Just thought I'd show you that.
Can I just say, Ranty, a few days ago, hey, Jessica, welcome back.
Hello, Jessica.
Oh,
Hello. A few days ago, you were a bit down in the mouth about, well, flat Earth in general, and I hope that when we do the Ranty-thon, you'll be rejuvenated, because the last few days, you've been absolutely on fire. I'm not kidding.
Well, you know, sometimes, you know, I mean, it's a lot of hard work doing this, you know. So, you know, you want to feel if you put in the effort in, you want to see some results. It's like today, I'd have loved to have come home and just seen where that boat was, find its GPS tracker, know how far it was, and then go, hey, guess what? It should have been 5 foot hidden or something. But I can't prove it. I can't prove how far away the boat was.
Guys, what's wrong with this 1.5 volt idiot?
Oh,
Spamming in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. Look at this, Nath.
Oh,
Look at that.
wow.
Look at this boat.
That's one hell of a fold line, eh?
But you can clearly see it's atmospheric.
Well, you're seeing the ripple of water in the boat. This is a perfect example. If Life is Short on the last show was here now, he'd be saying, yeah, that's the water. You know, this is where we're saying it would be rising up beyond the I have to do it for the audience only. Let me just get my mouse. Where the hell is my mouse gone? There it is. So what they're claiming is the leading edge of the sphere, yeah, is not where the obstruction's starting, because we've got this fold line with the mirage that Ranty's describing coming down. But in this mirage, you can see what's coming up from the water, so you can see this rippling water like it's part of the boat, which it obviously isn't. But that's what would be described earlier on the last show by Life is Short as the horizon rising up further as you could look further in the distance. Now, obviously, at this very acute angle.
Well, hold on. Well, just want to correct you there, Nath. On this particular case, it's not the case because the hull of this boat is blue.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually the
$20 on you.
Yeah, it's actually part of the hull that's just on the mirage line, literally. So you're seeing part of the hull. I
stand corrected. I stand corrected. I'll just do a quick shout out again to Julio Pabon. Again, I hope I didn't butcher your name. It says, Earth is flat, God is real, here's a blessing. Thank you very much for your super chat. Really appreciate it. Yeah, smash the super chat if you want to support this channel. Shout out again to Julio. Sorry to interrupt, Ranty.
No worries. It's just, you know, I mean, you can clearly see with this demonstration that the hull is visible, and it's clearly higher than the water. You know, it's a very clear image, this one, because I'm very low down. I think I'm only about 2.5 foot above the water at this time. Yeah, just good stuff.
Nah, it's all looming over the horizon.
Oh, damn it. On the last show, I was like, I'm glad we're reaching the point where we don't have to put in the sarcastic counter.
Sorry.
That's all right. We'll get there, Arwin. We'll get there together.
We need an Arwin. You didn't hear what we were saying before, Arwin. We need a Hulk. We said, well, why do we need a Hulk? We've got an Arwin.
Don't let him know that we equivocated and basically compared him to Hulk. he'll get a massive head from that.
Arwin Smash?
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Arwin Smash.
Nah.
Well, again, that's probably the third thanks you've had in the last few hours for your excellent presentations, Ranty. Thank you very much indeed.
Right. Well, I'm all presented out today, so you guys carry on.
I'm sure we'll go over these again in the Ranty-a-thon on Sunday, so I'll do a plug for that and a plug for Ballbusters in this little gap. So 2 p.m. Central Time and 8 p.m. UK time on Saturday, which will be the 11th. So tune in, be here or be Sphere for Ballbusters 9, which will be on Evolution. So check it out if you're watching this on the re-up. So if you're not watching this live, it'll have actually taken place already, because this is going out on Sunday, this particular show, this Flat Earth debate at least. However, I think, again, I'm probably plugging only to the live audience here, because the Ranty-a-thon will hopefully have also taken place at 5 p.m. UK time on Sunday, which is the 12th. So again, be there or be square, Ranty Flat Earth channel. And hopefully we'll get him some way closer to getting his Mavic Pro and bringing us back some absolutely superb footage from Loch Ness. Yeah, during the Ranty-a-thon, hopefully we're going over some of the footage that we use so often here on the debates, and reveling in its glory. So check it out. Yeah, excellent stuff.